all know I am particularly excited about our next guest. Miriam has been here before. Come on up. Miriam is a partner at Campo Architecture Design and Studio. And so, Miriam, here's your mic, ma'am. You all just celebrated 40 years.
Yes.
And so you sent this slide deck, which had nothing to do with our meeting today. And in the past, you've been here, and we just rolled through hundreds of properties, the beautiful photos. But I love the way that you all depicted this a couple kind of walkthrough of time and decades of how your firm changed. Can we walk through a little bit of that first?
Can you hear me fine? All right. So the firm was...
That's for all the people just online.
Okay. The firm was indeed started 40 years ago as a one-man show with John Campo, who is the founder and president, and my business partner. So John started very young age, very young licensed architect. His first project was Jack's Brewery. If you guys have been here for decades...
How does this first project become Jack's Brewery?
I don't remember. Steven Bingler from Concordia had the project.
Okay.
And they went to school together, and it was too much for Steve.
Okay.
So he asked a bunch of his classmates to help. But they were really, really young.
Yeah.
So it's incredible because it was, according to John, that was absolutely abandoned building. Every opening was plywood over. So to bring that, I think it's another round of love now, but the building...
40 years ago, everything needs...
As your first project in the city, that's remarkable.
Yeah, incredible. And so it's now an icon in the city, one of the biggest there on the Riverwalk. Right. And then we move into the next era, which was
the 90s.
The 90s, and this was more about medical, right?
Yeah. Well, in the 90s, which is just a few years before me starting the firm, the firm was focused 50-50 on healthcare and hospitality. And healthcare was a lot of North Shore projects, but then sort of like cath labs and radiotherapy rooms, etc., throughout the country. That was pretty much a very solid book of work. And then a guy from Dallas who founded Felcor, which is a very large, giant hospitality, which is Tom Corcoran, and is one of our mentors to this day. He liked John Campo.
Okay.
And he literally said, John, you have to lose your accent, and I can bring you to the boardrooms in New York. And he did. So we did a lot of work for Felcor at the time, a publicly traded company.
Where is John from? What's his background?
He was from Baton Rouge originally. Okay. He went to LSU, and then moved. Did an internship in Atlanta, and then moved.
So what was his accent?
Southern.
Southern.
Very heavy Southern.
Didn't like the Southern.
Not like my Southern.
Yeah. not that South. And so I assume just in the 90s, the place to develop was the North Shore. I mean, not the South Shore. And so kind of a decade of pivot.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and in that case, in that decade, he did some work downtown here.
Okay.
And we were not as a national footprint as we are today. So he did work in the Embassy Suites and the next building, which was the Merchant until recently, which is before it was the Embassy Suites loft. So the hotels were good, but not interesting, right? It was typically your courtiers, your residences. It was nothing to, but it's how you build your career in hospitality, right? So you still do in prototypes, a more simple product, and then you can elevate your portfolio. So that's when it gets fun.
This is when it gets fun.
Yes.
And so two things, because Katrina, I assume.
Yeah, well, yes.
How did you deal with Katrina in the middle of this booming success?
So Katrina happened in the middle of that, right? So we reinvented ourselves a little bit. We became known for our integration of architecture and historic tax credits. So we got that big project on the corner of the slide, which is Peoria Marquette. That was one of the largest projects we had done at that time.
Where was that at?
In Peoria, Illinois. Okay. So in that building, we restored, to the ground almost, that building internally. But we also added a parking garage, a courtyard hotel, and a pedestrian bridge to the convention center. So that was a very important project for Marriott. And we got their favor. Like after that project, we proved to themselves that we could we're competent.
Yeah,
And
that was your first massive Marriott project.
Yes, yeah.
Prior to that, it was more Hilton with Embassy. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So with that project, it opens our doors with Marriott, and to the point that if somebody has a historic hotel, we are recommended, even if it's not in our city.
Yeah. So for context for everyone, if you weren't with us in the past, their firm does projects all around the country.
Yeah.
Miriam internationally, right, is where she got her start with JW.
Yeah.
In
Caracas.
In Caracas, right? And so they're doing now at this point, this era, historic projects, or becoming known as the historic architect all around the country.
Yeah.
So you want to renovate a building that was in your town square, and it's dilapidated, and this is who you call it.
We're doing a lot of old office buildings that are historic conversions to hotels. That's a lot of the source of our buildings. A lot of 1920s buildings that were very rich ornamentation, etc. So beautiful platform to start working with. And right now we have, when you were saying about geographic expansion, we have projects all the way from Anchorage to South Beach, which is where I was last week. So we cover it.
Yeah, we'll get there. Where you got your start, or kind of. All right, okay. And so then 2010 to 2019, what was going on there?
So we got one project that was not a hotel, which is the one in the top right of that image. That was the Dealer Student Union. We're very good friends with Landis Construction. We really like them, and they brought us in as their design build partner. So we did a project, not our usual portfolio, but then that opened the door for us to do housing at Dealer of the historic housing buildings. And then a little bit later, that brought us to do the Barnard Hall, which is in the bottom slide, in Northeastern.
And remind us, we've talked about this in the past, you're headquartered in New Orleans. Why?
Because that's where Campo opened.
That's where Campo decided to open.
Yeah.
And say here, was this the era in which you all decided to also double down headquarters and do Vegas?
Actually, that happened a little bit before this one. It happened in 2008.
Okay.
So we panicked after Katrina. We were the first architectural firm that came back to the city, and it was rough. So this is before the cloud and storage of data, etc. So we decided to open a second office, just to mirror New Orleans office. Same equipment, same furnishing, everything. So in case of an emergency, we have a second home. We were also following a very important client who ended up being from a project that actually was canceled because Katrina. We were doing in the Plaza Italia site, downtown. We were doing a Hard Rock hotel.
The Plaza Italia, which is right there, Caesars.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we were taking that site, keeping the plaza, but taking all the parking area. And it was my first project at the firm, as a matter of fact. And that one, we have the contracts signed and everything. That one got canceled because of Katrina. And then we also were doing the corner of Canal and Chapitulas, which is still not developed, next to the Sandlin building. Okay. That we were doing a Radisson there. Those two projects were canceled. Yeah. So we kind of panicked and reinforced the idea that we would already have geographic diversity, but we needed to focus on that. So having presence in the West Coast kind of opened up, not necessarily for competing in Las Vegas market, which is very tight, but we have very important clients in California. Somehow that very important client that was our client for the Hard Rock Hotel migrated to being the vice president of development for Marriott. Okay. So that's the guy who started recommending us at Marriott development level.
And then hospitality got really easy after 2019 during COVID, right?
Funny.
But this has become some of your best best days.
Yes, and actually, contrary to what anybody will imagine, we were the most productive when we worked from home. Like, I never seen the volume of work that we produce. I don't know if we were bored or what, but it was hard to believe that. We're not a big firm. We're only 20 people. So to put all that together is very impressive. I mean, I might be biased, but I think it's impressive.
Because you like working from home?
Yeah. Well, no, biased about the amount of work. Yeah. So what happened here is that now these are marquee projects, right? So the Peoria Market was one, but now every one of those buildings on the slide are considered marquee projects for either the brands or the hoteliers, right? The one on the corner, the top corner, is my favorite project ever. I think I mentioned that last time I was invited.
Which was Savannah.
Yeah, so we took an abandoned power plant, very similar to what...
Or Charleston, yeah.
Yeah, no, Savannah.
Savannah, okay, yeah.
So it's very similar to the power plant in Chapitulas. And we transformed that, thanks to a very crazy and visionary and eccentric client who had the vision to transform this into a luxury hotel. We were developing that building, and then we were doing a parking garage, new construction next to it, which evolved into becoming a hotel with a parking garage inside. So talk about scope changes.
This hotel is absolutely insane by common square footage.
Yeah.
And you have, 60, 80-foot ceilings.
Yeah.
And then on top of all that, they have some of the most insanely beautiful art in a hotel.
That's the eccentric part. So,
I mean, it's industrial and then luxury because it's JW mixed all together.
Yeah.
It's a museum.
Yeah, we left the steel exposed. It's everything. You can see all of the trusses, and it's very heavily industrial, right? We reuse some of the industrial catwalks as a catwalk to get access to your room. I mean, it changes all the rules for hospitality because in a luxury hotel you want to see a very handsome carpet in your corridor. Here you have a metal catwalk, but it works in the space. And when I say eccentric, our client decided to hang a 107-foot long dinosaur from the ceiling. So that was interesting.
I forgot about the dinosaur.
Yeah, we had to work with a paleontologist to consult with us.
I was more impressed with your architecture.
Yeah, I was not a fan of the dinosaur, except that one time we were traveling and we stayed there as a part of a road trip, and I did take a selfie with the dinosaur.
And so I think this kind of takes us back to your start, which we were talking before. Incredible, really American story, right?
Yeah.
You got started, if I remember correctly, with a JW
in Caracas.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so tell us about there to here to you're a part of a 3-partner architectural design firm that's incredible. What does that look like, feel like?
I'm going to do my best to abbreviate this. I went to Tulane. I was a scholar, Fulbright scholar there. Again, my master. I stayed for another year and worked as an intern level. This is 96, 97. Went back to Venezuela, had my own firm, design build firm. 5 years there, have 5 employees. I was also a professor at the university. That's when I got started. I had done a little bit of hotel work before coming here, but it was more like ancillary, or fix this. But then I was very involved with the architecture of that JW Marriott. I was in charge of all of the interior architecture, up to the furnishing. That project was finished. I was starting with other projects for the same client in Aruba and in Bonaire, etc. And then Venezuela went into a
What year are we talking about right now?
2002.
Okay.
So 2002, Venezuela was... Actually, 2002 in December, I was on vacation in Miami. At the same time, there was a national strike that started while I was on vacation in Miami. And I got stranded in the United States.
A national gas crisis.
Well, actually, a national strike. Everything was shut down.
Okay.
But because the gasoline also shut down, there was no cars movement. It was intense. That was the beginning of a crisis. So what happened to me is that I didn't have a way to get from the airport to my condo because it's a 1-hour drive and nobody had gas. So I called my clients. It's like, hey, do you mind if I don't go January 3rd as I had scheduled? And they're like, oh, no, we're canceling the project. So I went from very busy, having workload for 3 years, to 0 projects. Because I had work here, I knew people in the city. And the guy who used to be my first boss when I was an intern took me back. At that time, he had his own firm. That's where I met my current partner in life. And we were there together. He was drafted. He was National Guard Reserve. So he was drafted to go back to Iraq for his second term. Afghanistan, actually.
Remember those days?
Yeah, so...
And a quick shout out, he loves Donald Miller's Story brand. He was asking about it, and I was like, it's changed his business and life. We were talking about this before. I was like, please come to our book club. We'd love your insight.
Yeah. So Mike and I and 3 other people, we were borrowed to the current firm where I am because John Campo used to be Doug Mutton's mentor. So Doug was saying, I'm going to have to close my firm because I'm getting drafted, and it's too small to run on its own. So John is like, no, you're not closing. I'm helping your people. You're taking the most sacrifice for your country. The minimum I can do is help you. So John Campo interviewed the 5 of us together. It was the weirdest interview ever, where we were having lunch from mothers, and don't ever have a roast beef po' boy when you're in an interview. It's a horrible idea.
I did soup when I came here.
It's
it was
a
really
horrible,
good.
horrible idea. I mean, yes. He recommended it, so I followed, but
It's like
it
that's
was a
spaghetti.
horrible idea.
Yeah.
Anyways, he recognized what was our hourly pay at the other firm, and he said, I take you all in. The only thing I cannot do is benefits, because he created 5 new jobs out of nowhere. And it was a 2-month period that he was granting us while we find another job. So Mike lasted 10 years. I'm on my year 23, so it was definitely more of a 2-month commitment. All along that, I already came with a work visa to the job, so he did my extension of work visa. He sponsored me as my green card. He sponsored me for my citizenship. So it's been more than rising from an intern to a director and partner. Is also my life story has changed because John Campos. I'm very thankful to him, and now I direct all of our work nationally.
Yeah. Thanks, James. I think that's worthy. So you all, really do 3 things in my mind. Correct me, and it's
Yes.
architectural design and hospitality. Which one is your favorite?
I think I want to intern for the interior designers, but I think they're not taking me. But
Okay.
I think they had the most fun.
Okay.
I like the overall. I don't have the patience to go through 17 shades of beige, but they do have a lot of fun, right? I like what I do because I see the whole thing. So here's the thing: I have severe ADHD, which qualifies me to do my job, because sometimes I can oversee 24 projects in different states of the country, different contractors, different owners, and I know what is happening. So that became a superpower. Having the
Where did that come from?
what?
Like a love for design?
Funny. I always dreamed of having an art gallery.
Okay.
No, I never was, like Mike knew he was going to be an architect. I didn't. So back home, when I was doing my undergrad, there was a common semester between architecture and design and museum sciences. So I went in for museum sciences. I did not know that would imply knowing a lot of history of art, and I cannot memorize dates. So I was struggling with that class, but I was excelling as the more design-driven class. And I was very young, I was 16. So the dean called me to his office and said, hey, you seem to have a talent for architecture, and you could have an art gallery as an architect. But as an art gallery director, you will never be able to design a building. And you're so young, why don't you give it a semester try to see if it's a good fit? And if not, you're still going to be 17. So you didn't waste a 6-month period. It just gives you perspective. Yeah. So I tried it, and I love it, and I was very committed. I was a nerd. I think I'm still a nerd. So because I love it, it wasn't hard. And I did good, and that's how I got the Fulbright scholarship.
So speaking of perspective, I mean, how has that changed over the years from Venezuela to New Orleans to being known as one of the top 50 most influential women in Louisiana to being a partner of this firm?
It's all happenstance. Like, it wasn't planned. By the way, I'm a planner, like by the hour of my day. So being here, becoming an immigrant, a citizen, etc., was not in the plan at all. So I think learning to pivot is the best way. I think that's how we became a large firm. I think that's how we became in a niche of hospitality.
Learning to pivot.
Yeah,
right?
pivot.
Yeah.
I mean, read the room, read your circumstances, and adapt, right?
Yep. We have this podcast. It's called Pivot Shift Ahead.
Okay.
It's what we do every couple of years in real estate. Seemingly. So let's talk about the hotel industry, hospitality industry, and its current state. The first one is really the United States versus New Orleans.
It's on hold.
Okay.
New things are on hold at large, whether it's tariff, finance, shortage of labor. So what's happening is that most developers or owners are dedicated to keep their properties and improving within to keep them producing income, but they are not spending millions on new development. They're all scared to invest right now, but they are renovating and they are trading. Like, for instance, there was a trade last December the Le Pavilion Hotel here, which was iconic, was sold for $42 million, which is pennies for what it was worth it. So the local...
I don't know, I've been in those rooms.
Well, they got renovated. It got renovated literally 1 year before the trade. And it was a $19 million renovation, which the new developer took advantage of now having behind.
Yeah.
And he's a client of ours. We're not doing anything in the building yet, but imagine that. And so you have cash, it's the time to buy, right?
Yeah.
So.
And you would say that's true both for New Orleans and the United States?
Yes. So what happened in the United States, what we do is still happening because most of our work being historic, it can benefit from historic tax credits, which is in some states, like Louisiana, can be 45% of their investment. So that seals the deal because that's 45% less that they have to ask the bank or the partners, right? So they have equity up front. So that's what is keeping us busy, but we're not as busy as we were. And one thing that is positive, because I don't want to be like Debbie Downer here, we are getting a lot more proposal requests. So I think that people are starting to feel that they need to get the teams started, some feasibility studies started to be ready when it's the time. So I think a lot of engines running. Right?
Yeah, things are happening. Well, I'm going to be a Debbie Downer for just a hot minute. There's a lot of hotels, here locally that have hit the market. You all worked on the Troubadour in the past, and I think they put that on the market last summer, and then we got a call for bids yesterday. You've seen a lot of these giant hotels change hands. The Virgin losing its shirt.
Yes, I don't know why, but yes.
Well, that was the question.
I actually, we were talking about it. We think there might be some management issues in that because that property was positioned to be excellent. So
my understanding was they just overvalued it and they overextended themselves, and so the ability to be able to pay back something that they were able to influence appraisers that it was worth so much more than it was.
That sometimes happens. I did a project in St. Louis that it went into the bank because they couldn't service the mortgage. So what happened is these are not like your residential mortgage, right? It's not $600,000, $500,000. It's like in the millions loans. So imagine just the interest on serving these loans, right? So I think that a lot of people believe over optimistically in those performance. Yeah. The performance thing has to run at 30% occupancy because what happens in a COVID situation. So COVID really hurt hotel owners because they survived COVID, but then now they were in so much debt. So you're going to see the transactions hurt by COVID happening now.
I think perspective is like we trade somewhere around $250,000 a key, and you go to other places like Charleston, it's $500,000 a key, and so it seems like a bargain. But my understanding is we have a lot of private equity in our large hotels, and so it's almost about flipping the hotels as soon as it's profitable, which just makes them more expensive and more expensive and more expensive. Yeah. And it's the boutiques that tend to perform.
Mm-hmm. Because think about what can you pay when you go to a new city and stay at the Courtyard versus what you pay and if you stay at a hotel like the Chloe. The Chloe doesn't have a rate ceiling, right? Sometimes they can charge you $800 a night, and the next week it can be $1,200 a night. Versus a Courtyard, it's never going to be more than $180, never. Yeah. So that's what happened with luxury. You don't have a rate ceiling. And now, so think about hotels are franchises, right? So if somebody's doing a Renaissance, a Ritz-Carlton, etc., those are all under Marriott, Bonvoy.
Management,
Yes. So they have franchise fees, etc. But what is interesting is that individually each hotel is owned by a different hotelier, not by Marriott, right? They do have to pay a lot of fees to them, but now there are a lot of brands within the brand that are like white label. Meaning,
more brands and more brands. And
more
more brands.
Well, autograph. Yeah. You don't call them an autograph hotel. Yeah. Like every autograph I have has a single name that is individual to it. Tribute hotels. People don't refer as the tribute. They will have a different name. Design collection, luxury collection. It's all collections that allow to not be rate capped. Mm. So,
and it's almost like they'll create a whole new brand if they're going to acquire or do a deal to manage a whole bunch of new properties that are similar and alike, right? Which is went from like 15 brands to like
34.
35. Yeah. Okay.
So,
Yeah.
and they keep launching. And we're going to a hotel development conference later this year, and there is going to be 5 new brands announced.
Yeah.
What happens is that when you open a hotel in a city, like in New Orleans, there is no more space for new Marriotts. Every brand is represented. And when you sign a contract with Marriott, depending how good of a negotiator you are, you get what is called area of protection. So if I did the AC hotel here that is on Carondelet, and we are just about to break ground, by the way.
Yep.
I invited, but I think you guys are not coming because you have a party that day.
You designed the card.
No,
is
I
what
did not
understand.
design that card. They used my rendering. I didn't know it was going to be accompanied by all
She's
of
very
that.
upset about the Mardi Gras stuff because it's
terrible.
on Friday, and she's like, this makes no sense, except for our national people to
Yeah.
see that we're festive still.
Very terrible. But anyways, that project started for us, you're not going to believe this, 2019. And we're just breaking ground. It had a much higher limit, because of a variance, That's why it's across from the convention center by Calliope. Because of COVID, the project went on hold. They lost the height variance. Now it's just a 6th floor, so it's not going to be the same numbers. So I wish my client well, but it's not the same as when he was projecting 16 floors of hotel rooms, 2 different brands. So the projects are scaling down.
You said something that like did a gut punch to me years ago, and it was your firm went from doing one hotel here locally at a time just out of love for New Orleans, not always because it was the best job to take, but just to stick here. And I think your last visit, you said we're giving up. We're not doing this again because it's too hard to get through safety and permits.
Right now, we just started 2 weeks ago at what I think is going to be the most fun project we have to work. It's going to be 14 rooms on St. Charles. I cannot disclose the site, but 14 rooms, and they are using the Blackbird as their comp set. Okay. So that will be very interesting, right? The smallest we've done is 50 rooms, so that will be a nice challenge.
So you're back in it?
Yeah, because it's the right project.
Okay.
Yeah, but it was a culture, right?
But it's a little bit of labor.
That wasn't necessarily a super
love,
happy, It's just hard. Like I really was exchanging text this morning when I was waiting for this. We don't even know how to do a presentation to the city because they are so busy and they are furloughed 2 days a week. When are we going to have an initial meeting? Who knows, right? So what do I tell my developer? Oh, I live here, but I don't know how to get a hold of anybody because nobody's picking up the phone. Whereas when we go to practice in San Antonio or in Louisville, we call them because we are like, this sounds a little bit arrogant, so pardon me. The out-of-town architect gets a better treatment than the locals. So they're coming into town. We have to have all of the agencies present for this meeting. And we literally have from the fire marshal to the guy who reviews plumbing. Wow. That will never happen in New Orleans, right? So it's easy for us, believe it or not, to work outside.
So the expert is the guy that travels with a briefcase, right? I kind of do the same thing.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some trends like the functional change in hospitality that you're seeing nationally.
It wants to feel residential and experiential. So how it
So
translates?
Airbnb.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason Airbnb emerged. It was feeling too corporate, right? So now hotel is going to feel residential. So if you think about a lot of new hotels that are not like the prototype, that are not like the Courtyard. I have done Courtyards. I don't know why I have so much hate on them.
It's for the Courtyard.
But let's assume Courtyard, your typical prototype, right?
Yeah.
So every Courtyard in the country is going to look exactly the same, not only from the exterior, but like the same furniture, the same layout, where the reception desk is. Now, for instance, we have clients who don't want the reception desk to be easily found, which is what? Because they don't want, and I learned this, and it makes sense, from a guy who recommended the Unbeatable Hospitality book. It's not about the transaction, it's about the experience. So we did the Katrina Suites Hotel here in Magazine, and that client, which is Rockbridge, a very important hotelier, say when the renovation, which we didn't do, it was an interior designer from out of town, is hide the reception desk. So if you think about going to Eliza Jane today, you don't see the reception desk. It's now hidden, like tucked in a small room. So it's about the experience of entering that atrium and then sitting in the atrium to have a drink, etc. So it changed a lot from the original design to what is today. And I think that's the transformation. We are doing the Royal Sonesta here in Bourbon, which is
huge.
Yes, and it was put on hold, by the way.
Okay.
So we designed it, permit ready, don't build it.
And that was the decision of the owner?
Yeah, because tariff and the unknowns. It's hard to put $40 million in a project.
How many?
40 plus.
Okay.
Exactly. And the product, and the building is producing right now, as it is. So why would you invest that much? So it's got a full refresh, right? So it's many rooms. It's 400 and something rooms. Yeah. So it's not a cheap project, and it's ready.
Yeah.
But we can just not build it yet.
Yeah, because you can't contract on all the unknowns.
Yeah.
Yeah. Makes total sense. And so you're excited about that one. One that you also completed and you were excited about last time was the AC in Kansas City.
Oh, yes. That one won many awards. It's a cool project. It was not necessarily an abandoned.
No, it's not on this one.
No, it's not. It should be. No, it is. It's in the corner, in the bottom corner, right.
Bottom right.
Yeah, bottom right. So the building was an underutilized office building, a bank office building, bank and insurance. Think about the promise of downtown New Orleans with buildings that are, the downtown development will say, oh, we have 90% occupancy, but we know that that's not the case. So if you compact the use of offices into a couple floors and turn the rest into hotel, which we did in San Antonio, it's great. So in San Antonio, it wasn't historic, but it was an old building. We compressed offices to 7 floors, and the building's 21. And in 21 floors, we had 2 hotel brands, and AC as well, and Element.
Yep.
So I think that if in New Orleans we look at the property like that, like as assessment of what is mostly vacant and then how to, because I know tenants have long-term leases, but if the owners of the buildings compromise and give them the tenant improvement, move cost, etc., you can do great things with the underutilized space, which is now empty.
I really dislike Element. Am I alone?
Yeah. No.
Yeah. So Element is like more of a longer-term stay. They have a compact kitchen, and there's a tiny bit of design to it, but it's still economy. But they tend to be able to skyrocket the prices on like a Residence Inn would.
Yeah, so Residence Inn and Element is sort of the same intent. So somebody that comes from training or somebody here for 2 or 3 weeks, sometimes even just a week. It feels a little bit residential because you have a kitchenette, you have like a bar stool to sit on a high counter, etc. In the Residence Inn, it is traditional. The one that we did here is not so traditional, but it's traditional still. So Element was supposed to be more modern, more contemporary, a lot about sustainability. It's actually, that one by prototype, you have to meet certain criteria of green, right? But the brand is not one of the best performing for Marriott. You know what brand is the best performing for Marriott? Residence Inn.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay.
It's the one that generates more for clients. Yeah. Which nobody will believe. You will see it's JW Marriott. No, it's Residence Inn.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, JW, just because they continue to be able to bring in the revenue, and there's so many rooms.
Yeah.
We only have a couple of minutes. I want to be able to make sure we get to some questions. I was wanting to talk about the future, whether that be design, AI, or what the workplace looks like.
AI is scary to me.
Okay.
My business partner, Mary, just went to a national conference in which she spoke about how do we use AI in architecture but don't lose the grip. So it can be performative, it can be 5 different versions of the floor plan, but it doesn't have the experience component of like, is this a good floor plan? Is it the right flow? Is it a good experience for a user? So it just produces, but it doesn't feel. It doesn't feel the quality, it doesn't filter what is good or bad, right? So I think that AI, many things that are just automatic with no brain after it, it can be dangerous because people think it's ready and it's not really ready. So I think it helps, but it's not. Yeah, it's a productivity
At least not
for what we do. Maybe for somebody who's having a new construction, a rectangular building, fill it with rooms. Yeah. But for us, our buildings are never a rectangle, for starters, right? Like you can see those triangular shapes. So I think that that's limited for us. Now, it does make some tasks faster.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Productivity.
Regarding trends, I think that hotel footprints might get smaller. Not for an investment, but like the idea of the experience.
Like the rooms or the common space?
No, the quantity of rooms.
Oh, well, okay, great question. Okay, I didn't ask this. Yesterday, the Super Bowl committee said in order for us to be considered, we need to build more hotel rooms.
Which is the Omni.
Which is the Omni. They're just trying to say build the Omni.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the Omni, I don't know if you have been following, preservationists, I'm not including that one, hate that project because it's going to be on the sugar mill site. It's a really big high-rise. The city does need that because what happened, I think I mentioned that, we do projects that are 140 to 100 rooms. Convention Center says they need 10,000 rooms to compete for the big conferences. How do you get to 10,000 rooms with 150 new hotel rooms at a time? So the Omni is going to take care of plenty of that.
It'd be interesting what it does to the warehouse district area that
the neighbors are not
should
happy
thrive
about it.
because the convention center but dies because everyone flows to towards the quarter at night, right?
Yeah. So I'm not involved with that project, but I think it might be necessary.
Okay.
I don't know if the site selection is the best one. I don't know. I used to go to a sugar mill for parties, so I kind of don't want to see gone, right?
It's just that right amount of distance that becomes almost unwalkable to the triangle, right? Which is the sports district and the tourist district, right? So
we'll see. I'm quite honest. We'll see what happens because also the extension of the river development part, which has been stalled, only the shell building is happening. I think that also, if and when it happens, it's going to totally change the map.
Yeah. We all hope, at least I hope, that there's some rejuvenation in that whole project. What a shame to not let it go. And I would hope that Shell has some deals going through. What? Anything I didn't ask you?
No, I think you covered plenty.
Questions? Michelle?
I just want to know your thoughts on the Four Seasons, especially being across from the new Caesar Hotel. That whole dynamic.
Yeah, the Four Seasons is also not doing great. I think, again, the Four Seasons is not doing great as it is right now. You guys are mostly in the residential side. Apparently, the condos are unsellable because of the price points. I think that their performer was too optimistic. When they did those performers, they did not know that Caesars really was going to get built. And I think Caesars is going to take a lot of their market share because a new hotel in New Orleans, I mean, that doesn't happen often.
Every room, right?
Yeah. So
with a whole entertainment basically district in the building.
However, not everybody likes casino hotels.
Well, I hate them, but people love them.
Yeah. It has a target.
It does. I mean, you got to think 50% of people in tourism drive here. Yeah. A lot of them drive here even for the casinos. I mean, it is a hell of a market, and there's not that many casinos.
No, and for a casino, it's a really good casino, right? So for people who like it, so it's not for everybody, but it's going to be busy. Yeah. And also, I was told, I'm not sure if this is true or not, that the Nobu Hotel, which is a very exclusive brand, and I mean to even have one in a city is remarkable, is going to be reserved for high rollers. I don't know. I haven't tried to book to see what it is, but maybe the booking is $1,200. So nobody's going to pay for that.
Probably more than that.
Yeah.
Probably.
But it's smart to have that. So when you have too many rooms, hotel brands want to divide it in 2-3 brands even. Nobody wants to have more than 150 rooms per flag because you can feel it if you do too much. You're still running the operations of a big hotel, but not getting heads in beds, which is what hoteliers want.
Yep. Any other questions? James?
Hi, James.
Good morning. Thanks for being here.
Oh, my pleasure.
Many times I hear through the talk about the dual branding. Typically with these buildings, the dual branding deals with different levels, and then they brand out. It's just to bring two different levels of accommodations.
The first time I did a dual brand was our project in Peoria. So the nice, fancy rooms were in the Perry Marquette Marriott, which the sign was historic, so we couldn't take that original brand out. That was very luxury level. The next one was the Courtyard. What happened there is that nobody knows this. Peoria is the headquarter base for Caterpillar. So they could not have their board of directors meetings in the city because there were not good accommodations. So they were a partner in this project, and there was a Caterpillar floor that was even more luxury. So there's that. It's just to accommodate different brackets, right? And then the pairing is usually brackets and or different lengths of stay. So the one that we did in San Antonio, and we're doing something very similar in Birmingham, are AC with an element. In some of them, you can share the entrance. The preference for the brand when there are such different brands is to split the lobbies, but they have maybe a common share of
Conference rooms,
yes,
food and beverage,
and elevators too,
and
because-
staff
yeah.
to share.
That luxury level they're getting access to.
Yes.
Yeah, laundry facilities. you
Yeah,
know.
so you repeat the general areas, and then the rooms is what is different. And we did that in 2008. We're doing a lot of that today. We're building one in Birmingham. We just finished. It's happening a lot, and it's when the properties for us, right? Because we're working historic, so we come with the building that are big, so we're not going to fill it all with 300 rooms of one brand because it's too much risk. It's too many rooms to maintain close.
Yep. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Okay.